Tom loved the quiet mornings in the woods.
这边是
Since retiring from the army, he had found peace walking among the tall trees, listening to birds and feeling the cool breeze on his face. More than anything, he loved sharing these walks with his son, Leo. The boy was curious and full of energy, always asking questions about everything they saw. Tom enjoyed answering them, telling Leo stories about the things he had seen and done during his years as a helicopter pilot. Today, the forest seemed more alive than usual. Sunlight danced on the leaves and the scent of pine filled the air. Leo ran a few steps ahead, laughing as he tried to catch a squirrel that darted across the path. Tom followed at a steady pace, his boots crunching softly on the fallen leaves. As they walked deeper into the woods, Leo suddenly stopped and looked toward a cluster of trees ahead. His small hand shot out, pointing at something hidden among the branches. "Dad, is that a real helicopter?" he asked, his voice full of wonder. Tom stopped, squinting to see what his son had spotted. At first, he thought it might be a large piece of equipment left behind, or maybe a play structure from some camping trip. But as he walked closer, he realized it was something extraordinary. There, partially hidden by bushes and moss, was the shape of a real helicopter. Its outline was clear against the green of the forest. Tom felt a mix of excitement and caution. He had seen many helicopters in his life, but finding one here abandoned in the middle of the woods was something completely different. He took Leo's hand and led him closer, careful not to disturb any plants or animals along the way. The helicopter was an Apache, a type he had flown many times during his service. Its paint was faded and some parts were slightly rusted, but it was unmistakably real. The rotors were still, and a thin layer of dirt covered the sides. Tom knelt beside the helicopter, running his fingers over the metal. It was heavy, solid, and cold to the touch. Leo's eyes widened as he peered at the massive machine. "It looks so big, Dad," he said. "Could it really fly?" Tom smiled, feeling the excitement in his son's voice. "Yes, it could," he said softly. "This kind of helicopter is very strong and very fast. It was used by the Army for important missions. Flying it is not easy. It takes a lot of skill and care." Leo nodded seriously, imagining himself inside the cockpit, controlling the joysticks and watching the world from above the trees. Tom stood up and circled the helicopter, inspecting it carefully. The doors were slightly open, revealing the dusty interior. Leaves and small twigs had blown inside through the openings, showing that no one had been here for a long time. Tom's mind started to race with questions. How did it get here? Who had left it? And why had it been abandoned in these woods? He knew he would need to investigate, but for now he wanted Leo to enjoy the discovery. "Come on, Leo," he said, helping his son climb onto one of the skids. The boy's small feet dangled above the ground and he held tightly to Tom's hand. Once Leo was secure, Tom climbed up himself. The cockpit was dusty, with old controls and panels covered in grime. Tom ran his hands over the instruments, remembering the days he had spent in helicopters, flying over mountains and forests, helping people and completing missions. Leo watched closely, his eyes full of curiosity and awe. "Dad, can we fly it?" Leo asked, his voice full of hope. Tom laughed softly, shaking his head. "Not today, Leo. This one has been sitting here for a very long time. But we can imagine it. You can pretend you're flying it and I'll be your co-pilot." Leo smiled, gripping the joysticks and moving them gently, pretending to navigate through clouds. Tom watched him and felt a warm pride in his heart. Moments like this reminded him why he had wanted to spend so much time with his son, teaching him about life, courage, and imagination. Tom noticed a small notebook wedged under the pilot's seat. Curious, he picked it up and brushed off the dirt. The pages were old, yellowed, and filled with sketches and notes. There were diagrams of the helicopter's parts, instructions for maintenance, and even a few drawings of mountains and skies. Tom realized that someone had cared for this helicopter very deeply. Leo peered over his father's shoulder, fascinated by the drawings. "Wow, Dad, someone really loved this helicopter," he said softly. Tom nodded, feeling a mix of nostalgia and wonder. "Yes, Leo, and now we get to find it and learn its story. This is something very special. Not everyone gets to see a real Apache in the woods." The boy's excitement grew, and he began looking around for more clues, examining the trees and ground as if he were on a treasure hunt. Tom watched him, smiling. Today's walk had become an adventure, one that neither of them would ever forget. The forest seemed quiet around them, almost as if it was holding its breath. The Apache helicopter rested there, hidden from the world, waiting for someone curious enough to discover it. Tom knew that this discovery was the beginning of something bigger, a mystery, an adventure, and a way for him to share more of his past with his son. As they stayed near the machine, the sun rose higher, lighting the metal in a warm glow. It was a perfect morning, and Tom felt a sense of peace. They had found something extraordinary, and it was just the start of their story. Tom took a deep breath and looked carefully at the Apache. The helicopter had clearly been in the woods for many years. Its paint was faded and chipped, and a few leaves were stuck between the rotors. Yet it still looked strong, as if it had been waiting patiently for someone to find it. Leo ran his small fingers along the side, feeling the cool metal under his touch. He looked at the cockpit with wide eyes, imagining himself soaring through the clouds. "Dad, do you think someone left it here on purpose?" he asked, curiosity sparkling in his voice. Tom crouched beside the boy and thought for a moment. "I'm not sure, Leo. Maybe it was left here by accident, or maybe it was hidden a long time ago. Helicopters like this are very valuable, and it's unusual to see one in a place like this. Whoever left it must have had a reason." He looked around the trees, noticing how quiet the forest had become. Even the birds seemed to pause, as if they were listening to the story of the abandoned helicopter. Leo leaned closer to the cockpit, pointing at the seats. "Dad, can we go inside?" he asked eagerly. Tom smiled and nodded. "Yes, but carefully. The helicopter has been here for a long time. It might be dusty or have small debris inside. We need to watch our steps." He helped Leo climb into the pilot's seat, steadying him so he would not slip. Leo sat up straight, gripping the joystick, his imagination turning the dusty cabin into the sky. Tom followed, settling into the co-pilot's seat. He ran his hand over the worn controls, feeling a familiar excitement. It had been years since he had flown an Apache, but the memories came back clearly. The sound of the rotor blades, the vibration of the engines, and the feeling of being high above the ground. He remembered the responsibility he had felt every time he took off. Now, with Leo beside him, he could share that feeling in a new way through stories and imagination. While exploring the cockpit, Tom noticed a small notebook tucked under the pilot's seat. He pulled it out carefully and flipped through the pages. Inside were sketches of the helicopter's controls, notes about maintenance, and diagrams of aerial maneuvers. Some pages were marked with dates and signatures, showing that someone had cared deeply about this machine. Leo leaned over, fascinated by the drawings. "Dad, look. This person drew mountains and clouds, too. They must have loved flying," he whispered. Tom nodded, feeling a sense of connection to whoever had flown this helicopter years ago. After examining the interior, Tom decided to look around the outside of the helicopter. He walked slowly along the side, pointing out different parts to Leo. "See these rotors? They spin very fast when the helicopter is flying. And these panels? They protect the engine and important parts from damage." Leo listened carefully, absorbing every word. "Dad, it must have been amazing to fly this," he said, his voice filled with awe. Tom smiled. "Yes, Leo. Flying an Apache is an incredible experience. You feel like you are part of the sky itself." The two of them spent the next hour exploring the area. They noticed footprints that were old and faded, probably from animals, and the ground was covered with leaves and moss. The helicopter seemed almost like it belonged to the forest now, hidden and mysterious. Tom felt a mix of excitement and respect. "Leo, this is a very special discovery. Not everyone gets to see a real Apache in the woods. We need to be careful and protect it." Leo nodded, understanding the importance of treating the helicopter with respect. As the sun moved higher in the sky, Tom took out his phone and started taking pictures. He captured the helicopter from different angles, including the interior and the notebook. Leo helped by holding a small flashlight, shining it into dark corners so they could see details clearly. They laughed and joked as they worked, enjoying the sense of adventure. It felt like they were uncovering a secret from the past, a story that had been waiting for someone curious enough to find it. Before leaving, Tom sat down on the skid, holding Leo close. "We will come back, Leo," he said softly. "Next time we can bring tools to clean it a little and maybe learn more about its history. This helicopter has a story, and I want us to discover it together." Leo hugged his dad tightly, feeling proud to be part of the adventure. "I can't wait, Dad. This is the best day ever," he said. Tom smiled, watching the sunlight reflect. The next morning, Tom woke up early, feeling excited to return to the woods with Leo. He packed a small backpack with gloves, a flashlight, and some snacks, knowing that exploring the abandoned Apache could take hours. Leo bounced around the house, already dressed in his favorite jacket, his small backpack swinging on his shoulders. "Dad, I can't wait to see it again," he said, his eyes bright. Tom smiled, feeling the same excitement. "Me too, Leo. Today we will learn more about this helicopter and maybe find new clues about its story." When they reached the forest, the sunlight filtered through the trees, creating patches of gold on the path. Birds sang cheerfully and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. The Apache helicopter came into view, partially hidden among the bushes and moss. It looked the same as yesterday, but somehow even more mysterious, as if it had been waiting just for them. Leo ran ahead and reached the skid first, stopping to carefully touch the metal. "Dad, it looks even bigger today," he said, his voice full of awe. Tom laughed softly. "It does, Leo. It's a very large machine built for flying through the sky with skill and care." Tom and Leo approached the cockpit together. The dust and leaves from yesterday were still there, but today they were determined to explore more carefully. Tom handed Leo a small cloth. "Here, you can help clean some of the dust so we can see better," he said. Leo eagerly rubbed the dashboard, making it shine slightly. Tom guided him, pointing out buttons, levers, and switches. "This is the control panel," Tom explained. "Every button and switch has a purpose. Pilots must know each one to fly safely." Leo's eyes widened as he studied the panel. "It looks complicated, Dad, but I think I can learn it," he said confidently. Tom smiled, proud of his son's curiosity. He decided to show Leo something special. He opened the notebook they had found yesterday, flipping through the sketches and notes. "See these pages, Leo?" he asked. "Someone wrote all this to remember how to take care of the helicopter." They also drew pictures of mountains and skies. "This notebook is very important because it tells the story of the helicopter." Leo looked closely at the drawings, tracing the lines with his finger. "Dad, they really loved flying." "I can feel it," he said softly. Tom nodded. "Yes, Leo. And now we get to continue that story, even if just by exploring and learning." After studying the notebook, Tom decided to examine the exterior of the helicopter more closely. He walked around it, showing Leo the rotor blades. "These are very strong," he said. "When the helicopter is flying, they spin very fast and lift the whole machine into the air." Leo carefully touched one of the blades, amazed at how heavy it felt. "I can't believe people can fly something this big," he said. Tom chuckled. "It takes training, courage, and focus. But it is possible, and it is amazing." While exploring the back of the helicopter, Tom noticed something he had missed before, a small hatch slightly open. He opened it gently and found a compartment with more old papers and a small set of tools. "Look, Leo, someone kept these tools to fix the helicopter," he said. Leo examined them carefully, fascinated. "They must have spent a lot of time here making sure it worked properly," he said. Tom nodded, realizing that this abandoned machine had a story of care and dedication behind it. It was not just a piece of metal. It was a part of someone's life. Tom and Leo decided to sit for a moment on the skids, eating a small snack and talking about their discovery. "Dad, do you think we can tell people about this helicopter?" Leo asked. Tom thought for a moment. "Maybe someday, but for now it is our secret adventure. Sometimes it is special to discover something and keep it safe before sharing it." Leo nodded, understanding. He looked at the helicopter, imagining it flying over forests, rivers, and mountains, just as the sketches had shown. After their break, Tom suggested they take photos to remember the day. Leo held the flashlight while Tom carefully photographed the cockpit, the rotors, and the exterior details. They laughed as they tried different angles, making the helicopter look even more impressive. Tom felt proud of Leo's enthusiasm. He knew this experience was teaching his son about respect, history, and curiosity. As the sun began to move lower in the sky, Tom knew it was time to leave. He helped Leo down from the skid, brushing off some dust from his jacket. "We will come back soon, Leo," he said. "Next time we can explore even more and maybe learn who owned this helicopter." Leo nodded eagerly. "I can't wait, Dad. I want to find every secret it has," he said. Tom smiled, feeling the excitement in his chest. The Apache helicopter remained in the woods, quiet but full of stories. For Tom and Leo, it had become more than just a machine. It was a bridge to the past, a treasure waiting to be discovered and the start of an unforgettable adventure. As they walked back through the forest, Leo held Tom's hand tightly. "Dad, this is the best day ever," he said. Tom looked down at his son and smiled. "It is, Leo, and tomorrow will be even better." The forest around them seemed alive with possibilities. The abandoned Apache waited patiently among the trees, a silent guardian of memories, ready to reveal its secrets to those who cared enough to explore. The next weekend, Tom and Leo returned to the woods early in the morning. The air was fresh, and the sunlight streamed through the tall trees, creating patterns on the forest floor. Leo's excitement was obvious as he ran ahead, his small feet crunching on the fallen leaves. Tom followed at a steady pace, carrying a small backpack with gloves, a flashlight, and a notebook to record their findings. The Apache helicopter came into view, partially hidden by bushes and moss. It looked even more mysterious than before, as if it had been waiting for them to return. Leo stopped near the skid and looked up at the helicopter in awe. "Dad, it looks like it's sleeping," he said softly. Tom chuckled. "Yes, Leo. It has been here for a long time, resting quietly in the forest." He helped his son climb onto the skid so they could examine the cockpit again. Leo carefully touched the controls, imagining himself flying high above the trees. Tom watched him, feeling proud of his son's curiosity and imagination. Today, Tom had decided to explore the interior more carefully. He handed Leo a small cloth to clean some dust from the dashboard. "We need to see the instruments clearly," Tom explained. Leo nodded, wiping the surfaces gently. Tom pointed to various switches and buttons explaining their purpose. "This lever controls the rotor speed, and this one moves the helicopter up or down," he said. Leo listened carefully, trying to understand everything. His eyes sparkled with wonder as he realized how complex the machine was. While cleaning, Tom noticed the notebook they had found last time. He picked it up and flipped through the pages. Inside were more sketches and notes than they had seen before. Some pages had detailed diagrams of the helicopter's engine. Others had maps of training routes, and a few even had personal notes from the pilot. Tom realized that the notebook was a treasure of knowledge. He read a few lines aloud to Leo, explaining what each sketch meant. Leo leaned closer, fascinated by the drawings. "Dad, this person really loved this helicopter. They spent so much time learning about it," he said. Tom nodded. "Yes, Leo, and we are lucky to see it now. It tells a story about care, skill, and adventure." After examining the interior, Tom suggested they look around the outside of the helicopter more carefully. They walked slowly along the body, inspecting the rotors, tail, and panels. Tom pointed out how each part was important for flying.
"See these panels, Leo?
They protect the engine and other important parts. Without them, the helicopter could not fly safely," he explained. Leo touched the metal gently, feeling its weight and strength. "It must take a lot of work to keep it flying," he said. Tom smiled. "Yes, it does. Pilots and mechanics must take very good care of a helicopter." While examining the tail section, Tom noticed something unusual. A small hatch was slightly open, revealing a tiny compartment. He opened it carefully and found a set of tools and a few old papers. "Look, Leo," he said, showing his son. "Someone kept these tools to maintain the helicopter. They must have spent a lot of time making sure it worked properly." Leo examined the tools with fascination. "They really cared about it, Dad. They wanted it to be perfect," he said. Tom nodded. "Yes, and now we get to learn from them." They spent the next hour exploring and taking notes. Tom taught Leo how to observe details, look for clues, and think carefully about what they found. Leo loved the process, pretending to be a little detective. He wrote down notes in his notebook, drawing small sketches of the helicopter and its parts. "Dad, one day I will be a great pilot like the person who owned this helicopter," he said with determination. Tom smiled, feeling proud of his son's curiosity and ambition. Before leaving, Tom and Leo decided to take some photos of the helicopter and their findings. Leo held the flashlight while Tom carefully photographed the interior, exterior, and even the notebook. They laughed as they tried different angles, making the helicopter look even more impressive. Tom felt proud of Leo's enthusiasm. This adventure was teaching him about respect, history, and curiosity. As the sun began to move higher, Tom knew it was time to go home. He helped Leo down from the skid, brushing off some dust from his jacket. "We will come back soon, Leo," he said. "Next time we can explore even more and maybe find out who owned this helicopter." Leo nodded eagerly. I can't wait, Dad. I want to find every secret. The following Saturday, Tom and Leo returned to the woods early in the morning. The air was cool and sunlight filtered through the tall trees, making patterns on the forest floor. Leo ran ahead, excited to see the Apache helicopter again. Tom followed at a slower pace, carrying a small backpack with gloves, a notebook, and a flashlight. The helicopter appeared between the trees, looking as quiet and mysterious as before. Leo stopped near the skid, his eyes wide with excitement. Dad, it feels like it is waiting for us, he said. Tom smiled. Yes, Leo. And today we might learn more about its story. They approached the cockpit carefully. Tom reminded Leo to watch his step and to be gentle with the controls. Leo nodded and cleaned the dust from the dashboard while Tom examined the old notebook. Last time we saw sketches and notes from the pilot, Tom said. Today we will look for more clues about who owned this helicopter and why it is here. Leo leaned close, eager to read and understand. Tom flipped through the pages, pointing out diagrams of the rotors, the engine, and the cockpit instruments. See, Leo, every page shows care and attention. Someone spent many hours learning how to take care of this machine. After studying the notebook, Tom decided to explore the area around the helicopter more closely. They walked slowly along the body, examining the rotors, tail, and panels. These rotors are very strong, Tom explained. When the helicopter is flying, they spin very fast and lift the machine into the air. Leo touched one of the blades carefully. It is heavy, Dad. I can't believe people can control something this big, he said. Tom nodded. It takes skill, training, and focus. Pilots must be careful every moment they fly. While walking around the tail, Tom noticed an old identification plate hidden under some rust and dirt. He brushed it off and read the faded letters. It included a serial number and a few words that indicated it had belonged to a training squadron many years ago. Tom's eyes lit up with excitement. Leo, look at this. This tells us where the helicopter came from. It was used for training pilots like me a long time ago. Leo peered over his father's shoulder, fascinated. Wow, Dad, so someone trained here and flew this helicopter? He asked. Tom nodded. Yes, Leo, and now it is our job to learn its story. They moved to the small hatch at the back that they had discovered earlier. Tom carefully opened it and found a set of old tools and some papers. Some of the papers had maintenance records showing dates and the work that had been done to keep the helicopter in good condition. See, Leo, Tom said. The person who owned this helicopter took it very seriously. They wanted it to be perfect. Every detail mattered. Leo looked at the tools and records carefully. It is like they loved it more than anything, he said softly. Tom nodded. Yes, Leo, and their care kept it safe even after all these years. They sat for a moment on the skid, eating a small snack and talking about what they had discovered. Dad, I want to know who this person was, Leo said. Me too, Leo, Tom replied. We might never know their name, but we can learn about them through the things they left behind. Every note, every drawing, every tool tells us something about them. Leo nodded, understanding that sometimes stories are told through actions and objects, not just words. After their snack, Tom suggested they take photos of everything. Leo held the flashlight while Tom carefully photographed the cockpit, exterior, and all the papers and tools they found. They laughed as they tried different angles, making the helicopter look even more impressive. Tom felt proud of Leo's curiosity and patience. This adventure was teaching his son about history, respect, and careful observation. Before leaving, Tom helped Leo down from the skid and brushed off some dust from his jacket. We will come back, Leo, he said. Next time we might discover even more secrets about this helicopter and its past. Leo's eyes shone with excitement. I can't wait, Dad. I want to find out everything about it, he said. Tom smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride and joy. The Apache helicopter remained in the woods, quiet yet full of stories. For Tom and Leo, it had become more than a machine. It was a bridge to the past, a treasure waiting to be explored, and the start of an adventure they would never forget. As they walked back through the forest, Leo held Tom's hand tightly. Dad, I think we are the only ones who know this secret, he said. Tom looked down at his son and smiled. Yes, Leo. Some secrets are special because we discovered them together. The forest seemed alive with possibilities. The abandoned Apache waited silently among the trees, ready to reveal its history to those who cared enough to explore carefully and with respect. The following Saturday, Tom and Leo returned to the woods again. The morning air was crisp and sunlight streamed through the tall trees, casting shadows on the forest floor. Leo ran ahead as usual, his excitement visible in every step. Tom walked more slowly, carrying a small backpack with gloves, a flashlight, and the notebook they had been keeping about the helicopter. Today, Tom hoped they could learn more about the Apache's past and maybe uncover new clues about how it ended up in the woods. When they arrived at the clearing, the Apache helicopter appeared through the trees, looking silent and still. Leo stopped near the skid and gazed up at the massive machine. "Dad, it looks like it is sleeping," he said quietly. Tom smiled and nodded. "Yes, Leo. It has been here for a long time, resting quietly. Today we will try to discover more about its history." They approached the cockpit together, being careful not to step on loose leaves or debris. Tom helped Leo climb into the pilot seat, steadying him as he settled down. Leo gripped the joystick and imagined flying through the sky. "Dad, I wish I could really fly it," he said softly. Tom chuckled. "Maybe one day, Leo. For now, we can explore it and learn its story. Flying is amazing, but learning about the people who flew it is just as exciting." Leo nodded, his eyes wide with curiosity. Tom picked up the notebook they had found inside the helicopter. He carefully turned the pages, revealing more sketches, notes, and diagrams. Some pages showed flight paths over mountains, rivers, and forests. Others had detailed maintenance instructions and personal notes from the pilot. Tom explained to Leo that these pages were like a diary, telling the story of someone who cared deeply about this helicopter. Leo leaned close, fascinated. "Dad, they really loved this helicopter. It is like they treated it like a friend," he said. Tom nodded. "Yes, Leo. And now we are following their story by looking at these notes and exploring the helicopter ourselves." After studying the notebook, Tom suggested they examine the exterior more closely. They walked slowly around the helicopter, looking at the rotors, tail, and panels. Tom pointed out how each part worked. "These rotors are very strong," he said. "They lift the helicopter into the air. Without them, it could not fly. Every part is important." Leo touched the rotor carefully. "It is heavy, Dad. I can't believe someone can control something this big in the sky," he said. Tom smiled. "It takes practice, courage, and patience. Pilots must focus every moment they fly." While exploring the back of the helicopter, Tom noticed a faded marking near the tail. It looked like a serial number and a few letters indicating it had belonged to a military training squadron many years ago. He brushed it off and showed it to Leo. "Look, Leo, this tells us where the helicopter came from. It was used to train pilots just like me when I was younger." Leo looked amazed. "Wow, Dad. So someone practiced flying here and maybe learned everything they knew from this helicopter?" he asked. Tom nodded. "Yes, Leo. And now we get to learn about their story through the notes, the tools, and the helicopter itself." Tom decided to explore the small hatch at the back again. He carefully opened it and found a few old tools and papers that had not been noticed before. Some papers had maintenance records showing when certain parts were checked or repaired. "See, Leo," Tom said. "This shows that someone took great care of the helicopter. They wanted it to be perfect. Every detail mattered to them." Leo examined the tools carefully. "They really cared about it, Dad. It is like they wanted to make sure it would last forever," he said. Tom nodded. "Yes, Leo. And because of their care, it has survived all these years for us to find." They spent the next hour exploring, taking notes, and imagining the life of the pilot who had flown the Apache. Tom taught Leo how to observe carefully, look for clues, and think about the story behind what they found. Leo loved pretending to be a detective, recording his observations in his notebook. "Dad, one day I want to fly a helicopter and take care of it like this person did," he said with determination. Tom smiled, feeling proud of his son's curiosity and patience. Before leaving, Tom helped Leo down from the skid and brushed off his jacket. "We will come back soon, Leo," he said. "Next time we might discover even more about the helicopter and its past." Leo's eyes shone with excitement. "I can't wait, Dad. I want to find every secret it has," he said. Tom smiled warmly. The Apache remained in the woods, quiet but full of stories. For Tom and Leo, it had become more than a machine. It was a bridge to the past, a treasure waiting to be explored, and the beginning of an unforgettable adventure. As they walked back through the forest, Leo held Tom's hand tightly. "Dad, I think we are the only ones who know its secrets," he said. Tom looked down at his son and smiled. Yes, Leo, and some secrets are special because we discovered them together. It was another bright morning when Tom and Leo set out toward the woods. The air was cool and fresh, and the sunlight filtered gently through the tall trees. Leo ran ahead as usual, full of excitement. Tom followed, carrying a small backpack with gloves, a flashlight, and the notebook they had been keeping about the Apache helicopter. Today, Tom hoped they would uncover even more clues about the helicopter's past and maybe understand why it had been left in the forest. When they arrived at the clearing, the Apache helicopter appeared through the trees, quiet and still. Leo stopped near the skid, gazing at it with awe. "Dad, it looks like it is waiting for us again," he said softly. Tom smiled. "Yes, Leo, and today we will try to learn more about its story." They approached the cockpit carefully. Tom reminded Leo to step gently and handle the controls with care. Leo climbed into the pilot's seat, gripping the joystick tightly. "Dad, I can feel like I am flying already," he said, smiling. Tom chuckled. "That is the power of imagination, Leo. You can feel the adventure even without leaving the ground. And by exploring this helicopter, we are connecting with the person who cared for it long ago." Leo's eyes sparkled as he examined the instruments, switches, and buttons. Tom picked up the notebook again, flipping through pages they had not studied before. This time, he noticed a section filled with detailed notes about flight exercises and small sketches of nearby landscapes. "Leo, look at this," he said, showing the pages. These notes describe how the helicopter was used for training. The pilot drew maps of rivers, hills, and forests to practice navigation. Leo leaned closer, fascinated. "Wow, Dad, this is like a real adventure story." "The pilot must have loved flying here very much," he said. Tom nodded. "Yes, Leo, and now we are following their path by discovering everything they left behind." After examining the notebook, Tom decided to inspect the outside of the helicopter again. They walked slowly along the body, looking at the rotors, tail, and panels. Tom explained how each part worked. "These rotors lift the helicopter into the sky, and these panels protect the engine. Every part is very important for flying safely." Leo touched the rotor lightly. "It is heavy, Dad. I cannot imagine controlling something this big in the sky," he said. Tom smiled. "It takes training, patience, and courage. Pilots must focus all the time." While exploring the tail section, Tom noticed something hidden under a small panel. He carefully opened it and found a few old papers and a tool that had been left inside. Some of the papers were maintenance records, showing dates when parts had been checked or repaired. "Look, Leo," Tom said. "This shows that the pilot took very good care of the helicopter. Every detail mattered. They wanted it to work perfectly." Leo examined the tools and papers closely. "They must have spent a lot of time here, Dad. It is like they loved it more than anything else," he said softly. Tom nodded. "Yes, Leo, and because of their care, it is still here for us to discover." They spent the next hour exploring the cockpit and the surrounding area. Tom encouraged Leo to write notes and make sketches in his own notebook, pretending to be a young pilot or a detective solving a mystery. Leo loved this activity and recorded every detail he could observe. "Dad, I think I understand why the helicopter was left here," he said. "Maybe the pilot wanted to hide it or keep it safe like a secret treasure." Tom smiled. "That is a good idea, Leo. It might have been hidden for safety, or maybe it was no longer needed and just left here. Either way, it has become a treasure for us to discover today." Before leaving, Tom and Leo decided to take a few photos. Leo held the flashlight to brighten dark corners while Tom photographed the cockpit, rotors, tail, and even the old notebook and tools. They laughed as they experimented with different angles, capturing the helicopter in dramatic light and shadow. Tom felt proud of Leo's enthusiasm and patience. This adventure was teaching him about curiosity, history, and respect. As the sun began to climb higher in the sky, Tom knew it was time to go home. He helped Leo down from the skid, brushing off some dust from his jacket. "We will return soon, Leo," he said. "Next time we might uncover even more secrets about this helicopter and the person who flew it." Leo's eyes shone with excitement. "I can't wait, Dad. I want to find every secret it has," he said. Tom smiled warmly. The Apache helicopter remained in the woods, quiet but full of stories. For Tom and Leo, it had become more than a machine. It was a bridge to the past, a treasure waiting to be explored, and the beginning of an unforgettable adventure. As they walked back through the forest, Leo held Tom's hand tightly. "Dad, I think this helicopter is our special secret," he said. Tom looked down at his son and smiled. "Yes, Leo, some secrets are special because we discovered them together." The forest seemed alive with possibilities. The abandoned Apache waited silently among the trees, ready to share its history with those patient and curious enough to explore carefully and respectfully. It was a bright Saturday morning when Tom and Leo returned to the woods for what felt like the most important visit yet. The forest was alive with birdsong, and the sunlight danced through the trees, creating golden patterns on the forest floor. Leo ran ahead full of excitement while Tom followed, carrying their notebook, gloves, and a small flashlight. Today, Tom hoped they would uncover the final mysteries of the abandoned Apache helicopter and understand more about the person who had cared for it long ago. When they reached the clearing, the Apache appeared through the trees, quiet and still. Its faded paint and rusty panels glowed softly in the sunlight. Leo stopped at the skid, his eyes wide with wonder. "Dad, it looks like it is waiting for us again," he said softly. Tom smiled and nodded. "Yes, Leo, and today we might find the answers we are looking for." They approached the cockpit carefully. Tom reminded Leo to be gentle with the controls and the old instruments. Leo climbed into the pilot seat, gripping the joystick with care. "Dad, I feel like I can fly it now," he said, smiling. Tom chuckled.
You feel the adventure, Leo. That is part of the story.
"But today we will also learn more about the past of this helicopter and the pilot who flew it." Tom opened the notebook again, flipping through the pages they had not studied yet. This time he found a set of flight notes that included locations, dates, and small personal reflections from the pilot. "Leo, look at this," Tom said, showing the pages. These notes describe flights over forests, rivers, and mountains. The pilot wrote about challenges, practice exercises, and even small observations about the weather. Leo leaned closer, fascinated. "Dad, it is like the pilot wanted to remember everything. They loved flying so much." Tom nodded. "Yes, Leo. And by reading these notes, we are connecting with their story." After studying the notebook, Tom decided to check the exterior of the helicopter once more. They walked slowly around the rotors, tail, and panels, examining every detail. Tom pointed out how each part worked. "These rotors lift the helicopter into the air, and the panels protect the engine. Every part is important for flying safely." Leo touched the rotor lightly. "It is heavy, Dad. I can't believe someone can control something this big in the sky," he said. Tom smiled. "It takes courage, focus, and training. Pilots must always pay attention to every detail." While exploring the tail, Tom noticed another small hatch partially hidden by leaves. He opened it carefully and found more old maintenance papers and a small set of tools. "Leo, these papers show dates when the helicopter was checked and repaired." "The pilot took great care of it," Tom explained. Leo looked at the papers and tools, imagining the person who had used them. "Dad, they must have loved this helicopter more than anything else." "They wanted it to be perfect," he said softly. Tom nodded. "Yes, Leo. And now it has become a treasure for us to discover and protect." After examining the hatch, Tom and Leo sat on the skid, eating a small snack and talking quietly. "Dad, I think I understand now," Leo said. "The pilot left the helicopter here to keep it safe. It is like a secret treasure, and they trusted that someone would find it one day." Tom smiled, proud of his son's insight. "That is a good thought, Leo. Sometimes people leave things behind not because they forget, but because they want others to find them when the time is right. Today we were lucky enough to discover it." Before leaving, Tom and Leo took photos of everything: the cockpit, rotors, tail, and even the notebook and tools. Leo held the flashlight to illuminate dark corners while Tom captured every detail. They laughed as they tried different angles, capturing the helicopter in a way that made it look even more impressive. Tom felt proud of Leo's curiosity and attention to detail. This adventure had taught him more than he could imagine. As the sun began to climb higher, Tom helped Leo down from the skid and brushed some dust from his jacket. "We will come back someday, Leo," he said. "But for now we know its story and we can remember it forever." Leo smiled, holding his father's hand. "I will never forget this, Dad. This is the best adventure ever," he said. Tom smiled warmly, feeling a deep sense of pride and joy. The Apache helicopter remained in the woods, quiet but full of memories. For Tom and Leo, it had become more than just a machine. It was a bridge to the past, a treasure waiting to be discovered, and a story of care, skill, and adventure. The father and son walked back along the forest path, holding hands and talking about everything they had learned.